Welcome to the first mini episode of the Futurabl Podcast. I'm Maria, your host, and today we're exploring a topic that resonates with many of us: the mind of a master procrastinator. Procrastination is something we've all experienced, but what goes on in the mind of someone who seems to have mastered the art of putting things off? Surprisingly, it's not just about being lazy or disorganized. Procrastination often stems from deeper psychological factors such as fear of failure, perfectionism, and even anxiety. When we procrastinate, our brain seeks to avoid negative emotions associated with the task at hand. This avoidance behavior is driven by our limbic system, the part of the brain responsible for our emotional responses. In contrast, the prefrontal cortex, which governs decision-making and self-control, struggles to assert itself. Let's dive into the psychology behind procrastination and uncover some surprising truths. We'll explore concepts like temporal discounting, which explains why we favor immediate gratification over future rewards, and the roles of the instant gratification monkey and the panic monster in our daily decision-making. Understanding these elements can shed light on why we procrastinate and how we can better manage it. First, let's define procrastination. It's the act of delaying or postponing tasks despite knowing there will be negative consequences. It might seem irrational, but there's more to it than just laziness or poor time management. Procrastination is often rooted in deeper psychological factors like fear of failure, perfectionism, or even anxiety. When we procrastinate, we tend to engage in avoidance behavior, seeking out distractions that provide instant gratification to escape the discomfort of challenging tasks. This can lead to a cycle of guilt and shame, further entrenching the procrastination habit. Understanding these underlying causes is crucial to addressing the problem effectively. Tim Urban, a popular blogger and speaker, explains procrastination through his humorous yet insightful concept of the instant gratification monkey. This monkey lives in the brain of every procrastinator and is responsible for distracting us with short-term pleasures instead of focusing on long-term goals. Picture this: you sit down to start working on an important project, and the rational decision-maker in your brain knows you should dive right in, but suddenly, the instant gratification monkey appears, coaxing you to check social media, watch funny videos, or grab a snack instead. This monkey is all about immediate rewards and completely disregards the future consequences of procrastination. Urban illustrates this with a vivid analogy: the monkey takes the wheel of your decision-making vehicle, steering you toward easy and fun activities. Meanwhile, the rational decision-maker is left helpless in the back seat, unable to regain control. The monkey's influence is powerful because it plays on our brain's preference for instant pleasure over delayed rewards, a concept known as temporal discounting. Imagine you have a project due soon. The rational decision-maker in your brain knows you should start working on it. You might even have your materials laid out and a plan in mind. But then the instant gratification monkey jumps in. Suddenly, you find yourself watching cat videos on YouTube, scrolling through social media, or binge-watching your favorite TV show. The monkey is incredibly persuasive, convincing you that these activities are far more enjoyable and pressing than your project. Before you know it, hours have flown by, and you haven't made any progress on your work. This happens because the monkey is driven by a desire for instant pleasure. It's not concerned about future consequences or long-term goals. It just wants to keep you in a state of immediate satisfaction. So, instead of starting your project, you end up in a cycle of distraction, hopping from one short-term reward to another. The rational decision-maker, who knows that completing the project is important, gets pushed to the background, overshadowed by the monkey's constant demands for fun and easy activities. So why do we let this monkey take control? One reason is the concept of temporal discounting. This is where our brain values immediate rewards more highly than future ones. Think about it: the pleasure of watching a funny video right now feels much more rewarding than the abstract idea of completing a project that's due next week. Our brains are wired to seek instant gratification, which made sense for our ancestors, who needed immediate rewards for survival, like finding food or escaping predators. However, in our modern world, this wiring can lead us to prioritize short-term pleasures over long-term goals. The further away a reward or consequence is, the less impact it has on our present decision-making. This is why it's easier to say, "I'll start my diet tomorrow," or "I'll finish that report later." Our brains trick us into believing that future tasks are less important than they are. The panic monster is another significant factor in procrastination. This monster stays dormant most of the time, but as deadlines approach, it suddenly awakens, causing a rush of anxiety and stress. The panic monster triggers a fight or flight response, flooding our bodies with adrenaline and pushing us into action. This can help procrastinators get things done at the last minute by overpowering the instant gratification monkey, forcing us to focus intensely on the task. Picture this: it's the night before a big project is due. You've spent weeks putting it off, indulging in distractions. But now, the panic monster is wide awake, roaring in your mind, making you acutely aware of the impending deadline. Your heart races, your palms sweat, and suddenly, you find yourself in hyper-focus mode, cranking out work at an impressive speed. While the panic monster can be a powerful motivator, relying on it isn't sustainable. Constantly living in this state of emergency leads to chronic stress, burnout, and lower quality work. It's like trying to drive a car by only pressing the gas pedal when you see a wall approaching, ineffective and exhausting. Imagine your stress levels constantly on high alert, deadlines creeping up, and your work quality suffering because you're scrambling at the last minute. Over time, this not only affects your productivity but also your well-being, relationships, and overall satisfaction. So how can we tame the instant gratification monkey and reduce procrastination? It's all about developing habits that counteract the monkey's influence and build a more disciplined approach to our tasks. Here are some actionable strategies. Create a daily routine. Establishing a structured schedule can reduce decision fatigue and help you stay on track. Routine builds discipline and enables you to allocate time for both work and relaxation. Use time management techniques. Techniques like the Pomodoro technique, where you work for 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break, can help maintain focus and prevent burnout. Visualize your goals. Spend a few minutes each day visualizing the successful completion of your tasks. This mental exercise can boost motivation and make the work seem more achievable. Design a productive workspace. Create a work environment that minimizes distractions and keeps you focused. A dedicated workspace can signal to your brain that it's time to work. Set micro goals. Break your tasks into even smaller steps with immediate goals. Each small accomplishment provides a sense of progress and keeps you motivated. By incorporating these strategies into your routine, you can gradually reduce the influence of the instant gratification monkey and foster a more proactive mindset. It's not about eliminating procrastination but managing it in a way that supports your long-term success and well-being. Remember, understanding the mind of a master procrastinator is crucial for overcoming it. By recognizing the mental tricks our brain plays, we can unravel the cycle of delay. For instance, noticing when the instant gratification monkey is steering us away from our goals allows us to catch ourselves in the act. This sense of self-awareness is powerful. It lets us implement practical strategies like breaking tasks into smaller steps or setting specific deadlines, which can transform our productivity and reduce stress. With these tools, we can shift our focus from momentary pleasures to achieving meaningful progress. Thank you for joining me on this insightful journey into the mind of a procrastinator. I hope you found some valuable tips and strategies to help you tackle procrastination in your own life. If you enjoyed today's mini episode and found it useful, please hit that subscribe button and share it with your friends and family who might benefit from it too. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, feel free to drop us a message or comment. Your feedback helps us make this podcast even better. See you in the next episode.